You got John McMullen Jody McDonald, your Mac Birds 365 guys. We are joined by our bud from CBSSports.com, Jeff Kerr, to jump in with us and get schedule week underway. Except maybe not, Jeff Kerr. Did you read Peter King's Monday morning quarterback column this morning where he said they will probably release the schedule, but the whole 24 to 48 hour presentation of the schedule on the NFL Network might not come off as planned because they're still tinkering with the schedule 3 days out? Really? They've had all offseason to figure this out. With 3 days to go, they're going, yeah, sorry, NFL Network, we haven't quite finished yet. What do you make of that?
So I was the guy who put it out on, I think it was Thursday or Friday. Does anybody realize that the NFL actually announces their scheduled release date with all their programming, and they haven't done that yet? And some people were like, well, they wait till the week of. I'm like, no, they don't. This usually comes out. The only report we have is Schefter saying it was May 11th. That's because the league probably told them that was the tentative release date. I'll tell you what the issue is, Jody and John. It's this year for the first time, and I think King might have pointed this out too. Fox isn't guaranteed to get, and CBS isn't guaranteed to get, where their conference's road team, they get that game. It's a free-for-all now. So I think that's what the debate is. Who's getting the Chiefs? Who's getting the Cowboys? Who's getting the Eagles? Who's getting these big market teams? And they haven't fully decided that yet. That's usually set in stone.
Yeah, I think Jody's Jets and Lamar Jackson screwed it up as well, because now the Jets are relevant and they're going to be a big national television team. And so are the Ravens, maybe a little bit to a lesser degree. Whereas, they didn't pull it off. Not as exciting. If Lamar doesn't want to play, and all this stuff was unlikely, but still, until it happens, it doesn't happen. And now everybody wants the Ravens. They want the Jets. And that mucks up the works as well. Plus, you got the 2-game Thursday night rule now as well, Jeff, in that teams can play 2 games on Thursday, and they don't want those direct games anymore on Thursday night. So teams like the Eagles are probably going to be on Thursday twice, and that's complicating things as well. Good or bad for the relevant teams, all this stuff?
Yeah, I still don't like how – I'm trying to word this as best I can here. I don't like how teams get 2 games on Thursday nights. If, and only if, they would get that bye week before, or you have multiple bye weeks. And I've said before, when the NFL went to a 17-game schedule, I said, can we try the 2 bye week thing again like they did in 1993? And they just haven't done it. The NFL, for some insane reason, wants to – they want to go to President's Day with football, but really – Is an extra week or 2 really going to hurt the product in the long run? People are going to watch it. Like, I don't think the NFL cares when the XFL starts, or, when NASCAR starts, or, the NBA All-Star game. I just don't think they care about that stuff. So I don't know. I just wish, if you're giving teams multiple Thursday night games, I think that you should get at least 10 days before that game. That's just my opinion.
And I don't know this, but my opinion would be, the reason I don't want to add another week to the schedule is the most important games you're playing. The biggest is Super Bowl, but then you got championship games. You don't want to be playing them in a cold, wetter city with a conference championship on the line and it being 10 below zero. The further you push into January, the more likely it becomes that you're going to have that kind of a weather day. And I think the NFL is pushing the envelope. They think as far as they have with their shit, because the Super Bowl used to be played the first and second week of January. It's now into February, so they just continue to add and add and add, so they're getting into worse weather dates, and I don't know that they want to go any further. That would be my one guess. I've never spoken.
Well, then
never reported that from the NFL. No one has ever told me that I've reported in any way, shape, or form that that's the case, but that would be the way. That would be my guess as to why they don't want to go to another bye week.
This goes back to my theory, too. The NFL should start Labor Day weekend or maybe before that, but they won't do that because they don't like Labor Day weekend. They tried that in the 90s, and I liked it, but
Yeah,
apparently
I had
the
no
league didn't.
problem with it. Did Johnny Mac, did you have a problem with getting your football season underway on Labor Day weekend?
No. In fact, I prefer it.
I'm the same way. I loved it. I remember summer all Madden would start. They'd be all excited. Oh, happy Labor Day weekend. And to me, Labor Day weekend was awesome because I was a little bummed school started, but the NFL started. So everything was good.
Quick story. I'll get do this very quickly. One of the best days, funnest days I've ever had in my entire life. I'm on Long Beach Island, which is, for people who don't know, watching this across the country, it's a town on the Jersey Shore that is almost equidistant between New York people and Philadelphia people. It's right in the middle. So you get people come down from New York who go to Long Beach Island. People come over from Philadelphia and South Jersey and go to Long Beach Island. It is split right down the middle. I was there on a Labor Day weekend for Eagles Giants in a great sports bar. And man, punches were being thrown, insults were being leveled. Ooh, it was phenomenal. It's Labor Day weekend on the Jersey Shore. Eagles Giants in a bar that's filled with half Eagles fan and half Giants fan. One of the most fun afternoons I've ever had in my life. Didn't get cut. I tried to stay neutral.
You mean this is back in the day when people actually talk crap to each other's face?
Oh yeah,
behind avatars.
Now it's Twitter. I got a lot of that this weekend, Jeff. By the way, I want to give credit to Jody's guy, Peter King. A lot of interesting information from Peter this morning. One, I like it because this is close to my heart. When he's explaining that he thinks there should be less cheerleading in the media. I agree with him wholeheartedly there. But boy, he was giving the Eagles flowers. No weaknesses in the same column. No cheer. He was cheerleading for the Eagles. No weaknesses on this Philadelphia Eagles team. I'm not going to go that far.
No, I'm not going to go that far either. Does he know who plays linebacker for the Eagles right now?
That would be my first thought. That's a pretty significant weakness. They're a good team, though. And he did his early power rankings. And the Eagles stand alone in the can't find a weakness category at number 1 overall. Then you got Super Bowl contenders, Kansas City, Cincinnati, San Francisco, Buffalo. I kind of have no issue with that group of teams. And the Eagles have the far easier road than all the AFC teams. Let's be honest. San Francisco is a very good team. But they don't have a quarterback, and they're collecting quarterbacks to find a quarterback. Can't find a weakness versus legitimate Super Bowl contender. One's fair, one's probably not. How good is this Eagles team better than last year's team? Early thoughts.
I think yes. Right now, I would say yes. Just on paper, I think the quarterback can be better than he was last year, and he was pretty good last year. I think I really like their running game, the combination of Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift. And you run behind that offensive line. I'm still concerned of who the right guard's going to be. I don't think Cam Jurgens is set in stone there, but you're loaded on the offensive line. I think Nolan Smith can make an impact in the reserve role year one. I think Jalen Carter could actually start week 1, if we're going to be quite honest here. I'm a little concerned with the linebacker position. I do like what they did at safety, though. The drafting of Sidney Brown, the signing of Terrell Edmonds. I think Reed Blankenship was more than fine last year. Yeah, Slay and Bradbury are a year older, but you still got more depth there. You still got Vontae Max. You got Kaylee Ringo. I mean, really, the only actual complaint you could have about this football team outside of who's the linebacker is who's the punter, or should Aaron Zippus be the punter? So I would say, just judging around the league, looking at other teams, I think Eagles got better. I actually think the Cowboys got better, believe it or not. I don't think the 49ers got any better. I still think they're holding their high heels on, Brock Purdy played. Well, Brock Purdy didn't play because he got hurt, because you guys couldn't protect him in the second quarter of that game. It's been a blur already, John McMullen. What play? Oh no, it was 6 offensive play of the game, so it was first quarter. But overall, I think the Eagles got better.
They were tied in the second quarter. I think
that's right, on the McCaffrey touchdown.
Yeah.
So So I think the Eagles got better. I think Cowboys got better. I think the Chiefs, again, it's hard for them to get better. I think they got younger, but I still think they're really good. I'm a little concerned about their offensive line, though, even though they signed Donovan Smith, and they're probably going to move Taylor over to right tackle. I think the Bills stayed the same. I think the Bengals are still going to be really good. You know what? The Bengals did get better, obviously, because they got Orlando Brown. So I think there's about 4 or 5 of the really good teams that got better, but it could be Eagles Chiefs again. It's hard to think that can happen. I know that's kind of the safe pick, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if the Eagles and Chiefs. Granted, what day is it? May 8th? If they met in the Super Bowl again.
May 8th. We got Kerr Super. You can't change it either, Jeff.
Oh, no. I'm going to change it
We're
about
locked in.
5 or 6 times before now.
And this may be the Negadelphia in me dripping north to the turnpike. People are putting the Jets on a pedestal that I don't know. I know Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame. He's an all-time great. I know he had a step-back year last year. If you want to blame it on everybody other than Aaron Rodgers, okay, fine. And I sure as hell know he's better than Zach Wilson. But this is Aaron Rodgers 2023, not Aaron Rodgers 2018 that the Jets are getting. And they're like the 5th choice in the betting markets to win the Super Bowl this year. Like 5th overall. Really? Does the addition of a 40-year-old quarterback really lift you that quickly, that high, Jeff Kerr?
No, I'll tell you what. I'll say this about your Jets, Jody. They'll make the playoffs. That's about it.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
how many teams in the NFL make the playoffs?
Well, they haven't made it since 2010. I was 22 years old.
No, we're talking Super Bowl. We're not talking about improved. I give you improved. There's no question they're going to be improved. But we're talking about holding up the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year. Did they move that much because of the addition of Aaron Rodgers?
No. Like, they're a good team. If they would have had a quarterback.
If they were in the NFC, I think we'd say they're the second best.
Can I petition that? Can they move the Jets to the NFC right now?
Yeah.
I'd like to see if we can make that happen. Johnny Mac, you know any way that you can actually see if you
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it, actually, because I don't know. Who's the second best? Well, San Francisco. But who's number 3?
I go Dallas right now.
Dallas
or Detroit.
Detroit's getting a lot of love. How about Seattle?
I like Seattle. I really like that team. And as we've seen last year, they were well coached, but they had a ceiling. But John Snyder and Pete Carroll, they know how to draft, and they're definitely a better team this year. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, you're my go-to jersey guy. So, Jody and I were talking. I don't care about numbers that much, except, and we mentioned punter, so I'm going to go here. Now, we all knew Aaron Cepas had to give up number 8 because Marcus Mariota was coming, and he gave up 8 to Marcus. Now, here's the concern if you're Aaron Cepas, and this will excite Eagles fans. They gave Aaron Cepas number 10, and he has to share that with Tanner McKee early in the process. That's not a good sign when they make you share a jersey. Now, however, Jeff, the punter they brought in, Ty Zettner from Kansas State, they gave him number 49. So
that's a random number, too.
Yeah. So it's not like they're signaling, oh, Ty's going to be the guy. But I do think it's a signal that, oh, this really is an open competition. Or am I making too much of numerology?
No, you're not. Well, first off, if you've been on the team for several years, it's not like Marcus Mariota is the starting quarterback here.
No.
So why does Aaron Cepas, the starting punter, keep in mind starting punter, why is he giving up his jersey number to a backup quarterback? Like you said, he's splitting with Tanner McKee. That was already the red flag. I remember, I think I saw you tweet out the rookie minicamp roster because I was on vacation last week. Well, the end of last week. And I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Also, Sidney Brown, they couldn't give him a number in the 20s. I know that's the...
See, I was telling Jody, be careful, jersey people, because when you cut down to 53... guys will change numbers. Sidney will probably go into the 20s, but right now it's your rookie. You got to take what's available, and he starts with number 43. But yeah, he's going to make the team, and I guarantee he changes his jersey number. I guarantee it.
Who was it that got? I'm trying to remember. Wasn't there somebody on the team that got a number they haven't used in a couple of years?
It
might have been Zach Ertz's
86. Joseph Ngata.
That's random.
Yeah, Joseph. We don't have a lot of numbers. Like, with all due respect to Zach Ertz, who was a phenomenal player, better guy, you're not retiring his number. You need the numbers. So
yeah, you're running out of it. Well, that's why they want 0. They want to retire more numbers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when it becomes a problem. You can really read into it. When someone gets 143, if that's your number, you've got an issue. You got a problem. That's not going to bode well for you going forward. And I'm sorry, I just don't care about numbers. My buddy BLG, Brendan Lee Gouton, who's very good when he comes on the show with us here on Birch 365 and on my radio show, and I read Bleeding Green Nation every day, dedicated an entire column today to the numbers.
Oh, that's what he does. He's good at that. And he'll break it down. Like, he'll be like John McMullen here. Oh, 2 guys share 10.
Well, no, I'm with Jody usually. I don't care about numbers. Like, I don't care who picks what number. But when I see something like that, it does give me an indication that, all right, he's not on sound footing. So I think there's something to a veteran player having to shift his number and then share it with a rookie. I don't think that's a good sign, but only with stuff like that.
I've had players say to me, "Why do you have that number?" And they just go, "That's the number they gave me."
Yeah. Well, some guys don't care. Some guys, like I said, Nolan Smith showed up Friday with this really nice number 4 chain. And obviously he was number 4 at Georgia.
And he's wearing 3 right now.
Yeah. So
didn't Marcus Mariota wear a different number last year with the Falcons?
Did he? I don't know.
No, I think he was 8 last year.
He was 8.
You sure about that? I don't think so.
I
know he was 8 with the Titans prior to, but I think he was something other than last year.
I am certainly not 100% sure of that because I don't know.
I will double check for you right now, but I'm pretty sure he was 8.
Okay. Which is, again, if Marcus came in and said, I want to be number 8.
No, it looks like he was number 1.
Well, he was number 1. Good look there, Jody.
He was number 1.
Like I said, so I don't even know if he came in and said, I want to be 8. If he was 1 last year, he didn't think enough of it to make the Falcons as his starting quarterback go, damn it, you got to give me number 8. Unless, of course, did Steve Bartkowski wear number? I don't even know if the Falcons have ever retired the number 8. Again, who the cares about numbers? Let's talk about football.
I got one for you. So I wrote we have to write some jersey number stories for CBS, and I'm like, did you guys happen to see who's wearing 7 in Atlanta that hasn't been used since Michael Vick's been there?
No.
Bijan Robinson.
Oh,
really? He's going 7.
Yeah,
huh?
so I had to write that up. Oh, it's the first time someone's used the number since Michael Vick. We got to make a big deal out of it. And
by the way, Atlanta's an interesting team for me because they have so many good skill position players.
Yeah, they do.
But they stink. They're, but if they can turn it around, with all these players, I mean, they've been doing Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London at the top of the draft. Who else am I missing? Cordero Patterson. Yeah. I mean, they got playmakers all over the place.
They had 1,000-yard rusher last.
You're still missing a position there, John, and that's quarterback.
Quarterback, yeah.
You got to have the quarterback in place, don't you? Only skill position players are great. If the quarterback's the biggest skill position of all isn't a given, that doesn't bode well.
Yeah, you would think. Offensive, defensive line. It's just interesting because if it works, I think more people will be emboldened to go in a different direction. And I think fans are probably excited. I mean, they love the skill position players down. I'm sure they're excited down there.
I'm I was a little upset though. In my dynasty league for fantasy football, I have Tyler Algier and Algier. I forget how they pronounce it, but I got him late last year and in our rookie draft, and now he's a backup. There's no way he's playing over Bijan.
No, I would say that's pretty good. Pretty good bet. Pretty good bet. That's not going to happen. What else from Peter I wanted to ask you? We did the schedule. We did he's got the Jets at number 9, Jody, which I think is a solid, but they're behind Miami. I'd put them ahead of Miami. But that's just me. Detroit at number 6 is another interesting team. That's who I wanted because I love Detroit.
I like that team too. And
Dallas Goedert told me last year he doesn't care what anybody says. That's the best team we played, talent-wise. And obviously they struggled early before they kind of figured it out. So on that hand, I think Detroit is way better than most people realize. They've been picking at the top of the draft for so long. You wake up one day and say, ooh, we got a bunch of good players. It's kind of what happened to Detroit. However, then I look at this year and I'm like, what are you doing? Jamar Gibbs at number 12, Jack Campbell at number 18. I don't know how to feel about this team.
And they had a good draft. They just got players in unorthodox positions. I was on Detroit.
You think they had a good draft? You're not going to hold it against them that they took a running back higher than the league would take a running back, or they took a linebacker higher than the league would take a running back. You're just judging the players, not whether or not they got value at that position at that spot in the draft.
Well, that's what I said on the Detroit radio station. I thought they had a good draft. They're like, well, you're the first one to say that. And I said, but you could have got Jahmyr Gibbs later. I promise you it'll be at 18. You could have got Jack Campbell later. I promise you he would have been there. And they said, well, you shouldn't think like that because what if they're not there? I'm like, well, then you got to have another plan. But I guess they took the guys they liked. And I think Jack Campbell's going to be a really nice player in the NFL. I just wouldn't have taken him in the first round.
But here's the thing that Peter brought up, and I thought it was an interesting point. All right, last season, they had 1,608 rushing yards, 4.5 yards per rush, and 22 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns from Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. Why are you fixing what isn't broken? I think it's a good point. They paid Montgomery more than Williams got in free agency. And obviously Gibbs is probably going to be a better player than Swift. Sorry, Eagles fans. But to that degree, why are you fixing what isn't broken? I think that's an interesting.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown told me this a month ago when we were talking about the Jamal Williams, David Montgomery thing, and he goes, I think it's really understated how big of a leader Jamal Williams was in that locker room. And I said, well, yeah, besides Hard Knocks, I'm sure he said, yeah, we're going to miss him in there. But he said, we got David, they think he's a better player, or they think he's going to be more available to them long term. And, it seems like they are going to miss Jamal Williams, and, their loss is the Saints game. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why they decided, hey, we don't like DeAndre Swift anymore, or we don't want to pay DeAndre Swift, or, we didn't want to pay Jamal Williams, but we'll pay David Montgomery and we'll transfer. I think they could be more explosive now because of Gibbs, but I don't know. Who's the better pass blocker, Jamal Williams or David Montgomery? That's what I'm curious about.
Here's the one thing that none of us know for sure, and I think a lot of time people just don't take this into consideration. Was Williams asking for more money than Montgomery? They got Montgomery done. He signed. He's in. Was Williams asking for more money? Didn't get it from Detroit and just sat out there because Montgomery signed first. Williams signed after. Yeah, he's not worth what he thought he was going to be worth on the open market. Shoot, we go between this all the time. CJ I think he thought he was going to get a hell of a lot more on the open market. The Eagles made the offer that they did. He ends up signing a one-year deal at a decent number, but not a great number. Well, we don't know what he was asking from the Eagles. He might have said, no, here's what I'm telling you. You're going to need to sign me. And then when it's not there, you have to go somewhere else. Maybe that's the way the Williams thing went.
That's a fair point. Jody, because, he probably thinks, hey, I scored 17 touchdowns for this stinking team. They should value me more. So that's a good point. That is a good point. It's potentially he would have wanted more, and maybe they went in a different direction. They put, who knows? Maybe they put 2 deals down. Whoever takes it first, they'll go in that direction. I do think it's interesting, though, because they were so successful running the football last year with what they had. And part of that, they have a very good offensive line. Yeah, very good
I would argue they're top 3, top 5 in the league.
Yeah. I was spouting that week 1. I said, woof, that group. And I didn't even realize how good Penei Sewell was going to be at that time.
He was a stud last year.
Yeah, he is an unbelievable player. Overall, I like what they're doing, but I can't get behind their first round thought process. I cannot.
It's very unorthodox. It would have been great in 1995.
Yeah.
And I think Gibbs is overrated. That's why I don't necessarily. I had him as a borderline first or second round pick. He goes that high. Whether it's the Lions or anybody else, I would have said if you're taking him that high, you're not going to get the kind of value that you should for using that high a pick in the draft. All right, Eagle Johnny was down there on Friday, rookie camp. Some people already questioning the condition of their first round draft pick because he's as big as he is, and everybody wants to know because he had the pro day that didn't go as well as expected, couldn't finish the drills and the like. Should there be concern? Is this a legit question? I think it's a legit question, but is it just like, can we inquire about this, or are there serious red flags about this? How do you take the Eagles' number 1 draft pick and his conditioning at this stage of the year, Jeff Kerr?
I'm not worried about it now. This is a problem when they get the pads on, when they're doing nonstop drills for an hour, 15 hour, 30 minutes, and he's gassed. I might be a little bit more concerned, but I think it's fair to ask him about what he's doing to fix his conditioning or what happened during that pro day, and obviously all the other incidents aside. But I think it's fair to ask him, but I'm not going to expect anything now. Come July or August, maybe I think it could be a problem. But the guy's got 3 months. I mean, the guy was in tremendous shape at Georgia. I don't see why he would be out of shape now.
Yeah, he doesn't look out of shape either. Just from
he did not.
Cosmetic standpoint, but it's not cosmetic. NFL level conditioning is a lot more than that. With rookie camp, we got to see a little bit of the top picks, Nolan Smith, obviously, along with Jalen Carter, but also, and you mentioned Sidney Brown, Tyler Steen did start at right guard. Again, there's 43 people there, but that to me is the most interesting pick because I keep going back to Brandon Brooks and Isaac Seumalo. The Eagles want size at that position.
He's got it.
And Cam doesn't have it. Am I making too much out of that, Jeff Kerr?
Not at all. So the first notice I had was when they drafted him. I was like, oh, okay, he might be kind of like a swing guy, kind of like Jack Driscoll might be a tackle, might be a guard. Then they listed him as guard, and all of a sudden my red flags went up, like the jersey number thing. Is Cam Jurgens, are we sure he's guaranteed that starting job? And I don't know. Like, if I had to make a bold prediction for the Eagles this year, and I don't even know if it's bold, like for training camp, I think Tyler Steen could be the starting guard come week 1.
All right, Jeff Kerr, last question for me. I asked this to a couple people last week, and you're a good guy to ask it to as well. I'm going to make you Jeff Lurie. So sorry I tacked on about 30-some odd years.
The $6 billion in the bank?
I'll take the money.
You're driving a much nicer car if I make you Jeff Lurie. Here are the purposes of the transformation. You had a call this afternoon from Roger Goodell, who says, Jeff, wait, we can't believe this. We still haven't gotten the schedule done. These TV people are such a pain in my but I feel bad. You had such a great year last year. You didn't win. John McMullen said you were the better team, but you didn't win the Super Bowl. So I feel really bad for you. I'm going to give you your choice. you can open up this year against either the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night, the national game, the big focus, the spotlight, everything else, kind of a tough game. Or if you want to take on that Gannon guy who screwed you by talking to the Cardinals when he wasn't supposed to, I gave you a little something, left you make a better draft pick than you did. But if you really want to stick it in his ear, week 1, Arizona's playing in your house, it will let you schedule the first game of the season. Do you want the Cardinals at home, basically a layup victory to start the season, or a true tester in the national spotlight? Chiefs weeks 1 on Thursday night, first game of the year. Jeff, I'll let you dictate your first game. Who do you want to play?
Give me the true test. Give me the Chiefs. And because I've been watching Andy Reid for 23, 24 years now, I know he's not always his sharpest early in the year. Patrick Mahomes is.
A little Andy Reid shot, huh?
But Andy isn't.
Wow.
So when the Chiefs started 2-3,
that's horrible.
not last year, the year before, I actually said, let's not overreact to the game. I've seen Andy Reid do this for years. The 0-2 Eagles, they started, I think they were 3-3. But he's had really good teams that started slow, and they were always the best team in the second half of the year. So get me Andy before he really gets to be Andy here. But Patrick Mahomes is dangerous in September because I look at it as I could be Jonathan Gannon anytime I want.
I think it was Kevin Kincaid last week, so I'll give him credit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jody. I think he was the one who said, he would pick the Chiefs because the Chiefs-Eagles is more relevant, so from a business standpoint. But I'll add into this. Jeffrey Lurie doesn't dislike Jonathan Gannon, so he doesn't give a rat's ass about sticking it to him. And he knows he's going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. He was trying to give him a raise to stay.
When you want to get off on the right foot? After having lost the last game that you played, I think everyone remembers how, and why.
I think the business aspect overrides because even if you lose, you'll recover.
For Jeff Kerr traveling purposes, I'd rather have the Chiefs week 1 on Thursday Night Football.
Because you're going or not going?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to Arrowhead this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Double check, and we'll remember not to book you on that day. Jeff Kerr, always a pleasure, brother. Appreciate your hopping in. Any 300 games since we last had you on, which was about 3 weeks ago?
No, I'm kind of in a minor slump right now.
Ooh, slumping Jeff Kerr. Yeah. But much like Andy Reid, slow start, finishes strong. Yeah. We have faith in your Kerr. JK, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Jeff Kerr here with us on Birds 365. All right,
it's early May. Jeff doesn't have to bowl 300.
Exactly. He's building up over the course of like what the friggin' bowling season is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know you don't know, nor do I, nor does anybody else other than Jeff Kerr. He's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald, coming right back here on Birds 365.